Welcome back to State Adventures. Hopping on here to go over your next Christmas getaway. This time we're going to focus on the Galapagos, and I wanted to kind of give you a thorough review of what I had in plan for you because there's so many different ways to enjoy the Galapagos, and we're doing some island hopping. So let me just go through the itinerary for you here. Sharing my screen, you'll be able to see the itinerary. Let's go through it together. So this trip is for the party of 10. So in every hotel, there'll be 5 rooms. And I started it on December 14th. So I believe this past year you started December 16th. Let me show you why we started on December 14th. You will fly into Quito, which is the main airport in Ecuador. And in Quito, we're going to spend 3 nights. So we're going to pick you up just as always. My team will be waiting for you with a big sign with your name on it and a private minibus for the 10 of you to head into town and stay at the Casa Gangotena. Casa Gangotena is one of the best hotels in South America. It was probably open no more than 10 years, but it has won awards year after year. It is gorgeous. It is right in the main square. It is a luxury property, like an old mansion redone into this beautiful hotel. They do afternoon tea time. The rooms are really spectacular. The views are of the main square and the cathedral. So a great place, great start, especially if you want to really spoil yourself in Quito. If you want to take a step back from this hotel, I have a number of other properties we can look at. So just let me know what your feel is about this property. And then December 15th, we will pick you up after breakfast and we will show you all the highlights of Quito. I have been to Ecuador many times, 7 times, in fact. One time I stayed in Quito for 3 months. So I know the city really well, and there is so much to do. So there's the old colorful town where all the main squares are and cathedrals and all the hubbub of the city. There's many markets here. The city is surrounded by volcanoes, so there's beautiful overlooks that we visit as well. There is some fantastic museums, like the Guayasamín Museum is a famous artist, where we will go and we will actually have a private room where we will do a chocolate tasting, because the cacao comes from Ecuador, from the coast of Ecuador. So whenever you taste some really magnificent chocolate, most likely the beans came from Ecuador. You will learn all about that here. We'll do all sorts of tastings. We'll do the old town, the new town. We'll go to the equator line. We'll go to the overlooks. We'll have a beautiful lunch. I have a number of places in mind for lunch. We can have it at a side of a crater where like there's smoke coming out of the crater and the restaurant looks into it, or we can do one of the overlooks of the city, and then we'll bring you back and you can relax. This is just a picture of the cacao of the chocolate. Mitad del Mundo, that is the middle of the world, or the equator line. A really fantastic little museum is there that you can do some experiments. It's all outdoors, so it's very nice. And then tonight, because we've had some issues in Lima with your dinner reservation, and I keep thinking about it because I was very upset that you weren't able to go to the dinner that you wanted to, I will book Nuema. And so Nuema is kind of like El Central in Lima. Nuema is that restaurant for Ecuador. It made the top 50 best in the world. It's the #1 in Ecuador. It made all sorts of lists and awards. And my husband and I literally just flew to Quito just to eat here. It's a 16-course dinner with wine pairings, really beautifully done. It's like a 2-hour experience. So we will include this for you, and my driver will take you to and from, so you don't have to worry about any of the transportation. So keep that in mind, that there's a beautiful place to eat in Ecuador, in Quito. And then on December 16th, we're going to spend our last night in Quito. And what I want to do here is take you out of the city and show you something outside. So we can do Cotopaxi, which is what you see here in the picture. These are actually my clients that went a few months ago. So in Cotopaxi, we go there for the most active volcano, and it's covered in lava, and we go hiking and we can ride horses, and it's filled with local ranches. So you spend some time on a ranch, you have a traditional Ecuadorian dinner or lunch, It's beautifully done. The views are amazing. And on the way, you visit little markets, little indigenous communities. So it's a great day in the, in the outdoors. Or if you don't want to go hiking or horseback riding, we can head north to Quito and go to Otavalo, which is the largest indigenous market in Ecuador. Another great place of lakes and little villages, and they're very particular. Like one village will focus on leather and one village are all painters. So very interesting area. So we can discuss what you want to do on this day, but either way, I'm going to pluck you out of the city and show you a little bit of the mainland of Ecuador, because this will be your last opportunity to do so. Because on December 17th, and this is why I chose these dates, we're going to fly to the Galapagos. And the reason that it's important to stick to December 17th is if we want to have this hotel. And this is called the Pikaia Lodge. Spectacular property. It is up in the highlands. It's where the giant tortoises roam. The views are amazing. The services, the food, the pool area. It's a great experience. You really feel like you're on a different planet when you're staying here. So I really wanted you to experience that. So if we want to experience that, we need to come on December 17th, because they're available those nights only, because we need 5 rooms. So for 3 nights here. So the way it looks is we're going to take you to the airport from Quito, hotel to the airport, and everything is included. Galapagos is a protected area, so there's a lot of customs and restrictions and a lot of hoops to jump through at the airport. Like you even have to have your shoes checked and your bags checked for any seeds or anything like that, so you don't bring it into the islands. So we have a guide in the airport that will assist you with all those steps. We prepay your ID cards, we get your entrance tickets, and of course your flights and your seats and your luggage. So all of that is cared for. 2.5 hour flight, and you're in the island. And then my team in the islands will pick you up and we will take care of your island hopping from then on. So private car, go into the highlands. We do the VIP transfer. So if you ever have seen videos of arrival to the Galapagos, the airport is actually on its own individual island. So let's just say that's the airport. It's not, but let's just say. And when you land there, there is a bus that will bring you to a port. And from a port, there's a ferry that will bring you to the main island of Santa Cruz, and there you would meet your guide. Well, what we do is we do a VIP arrival. So when you get off that plane here, you have a private van that takes you to the port and a private speedboat that takes you across the channel to your private car that will bring you to your Highland hotel. So we don't do ferries, we don't do shared buses or anything like that. It makes it faster, easier, so much nicer. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind, because that is not something a lot of people do. Once you arrive, we're going to tour the highlands, which means going to the plantations, having a lunch up in the mountains, maybe going to the lava tunnels, going into the caves, really getting a sense of this island, of the center of this island, which is like a cloud forest, and then ending in your hotel, which is Pikaia Lodge. Spectacular property. I stayed here a few years ago with my family. Like I said, the pool area, the food is gourmet. The rooms are really beautiful. So 5 rooms are available for the 3 nights that we needed. And I just wanted you to kind of get a sense of that. If for some reason we don't book it in time and we lose them, or if you want to consider something else, maybe in the village, I have other properties, of course, because I inspected them all and I go to Ecuador every other year. So on December 18th, instead of doing a traditional cruise, like a lot of people will go and sleep on a boat and go island to island that way, we will sleep in a hotel and do excursions, either with our private driver or on a private yacht. So the next day, because you have just arrived the day before and you've been in a car, and I don't want you getting on a boat and having a lot of transportation this day, we're going to focus on the highlights of Santa Cruz. So Charles Darwin Station is the most famous tortoise, kind of like a breeding center, also an educational center. So you will come very close to the tortoises here, but it also is our pathway to Tortuga Bay. And Tortuga Bay is where we can snorkel, kayak, swim, beautiful beach filled with iguanas and turtles. So it's a great introduction to the wildlife of of Galapagos. And we will include all your meals. So we will stop at beautiful restaurants along the way and have lunches, and your dinners will be in your hotel. So it's a really nicely done package where you don't really have to think about anything because everything is included for you. So think about that also when you're reviewing the bottom line of the pricing. There's not a lot of times where you're going to be pulling out your wallet in the Galapagos, because we like to prearrange things, especially over the holidays, because there's only so many restaurants and only so many tables, and it is a very popular time. So if you try to do a la carte and go to restaurants and maybe eat off the menus, you might not be able to find a space. So this is why we always like to prearrange some things. And December 19th is the time where we're going to go to other islands. So I want you to experience not just the islands we're going to sleep on, but also other uninhabited islands. So we're going to rent a boat called Windrose, and I have done this with my own family. Fabulous speedboat. It was built for the Galapagos, so it's very stable. It has 3 decks. One is some indoor space, even a bedroom if anybody wants to lay down and rest. But this boat is rented privately for the 10 of you, and we will go to some islands nearby. So for example, we can choose Bartholomew Island, which is this picture here. It's one of my favorites because it really feels like Mars on there. It's very red rock, but then there's a white beach, there's a penguin colony, there's blue-footed boobies, like everything is on this island. So I really love visiting it, but there are so many different islands, and we can choose and see what permissions we have, because every visit you ever do in the Galapagos has to be approved by the government. And so there's our connections that we have, we will get permission to go to Bartholomew if that is the one we want. This is just an idea of a boat. This is the Neville boat, but Windrose is the one I'm thinking about. So I'm going to actually update this picture and show you what Windrose looks like, because it's a little bigger than this. There is no boat that will hold more than 16 people, because 16 is a magical number in the Galapagos, because a guide can only take 16 people to a specific site. So the boats are quite small because they only have to fit 16 people. So for you, with only a group of 10, it will feel even that more spacious. December 20th, this is the day that we're going to check out of our hotel, and we're going to change islands. So we're going from Santa Cruz to San Cristobal, and it's a beautiful journey. San Cristobal is known for the Kicker Rock, for Lobos Islands. So there's a lot of things going on San Cristobal. So it's very worthy of a visit. What I included is a flight. So you can fly between those 2 islands on a small charter plane. It holds about 8 people, so it would be 2 aircrafts for you. So I want you to kind of think this through. We can fly, it's only 25 minutes, and we will do 2 planes or 1 plane that will go back and forth and bring the whole group over. Or we can do a speedboat. The speedboat would be private just for the 10 of you, and it takes 2.5 hours. The pros of the speedboat is that we can leave right after checking out at breakfast and be in San Cristobal by early afternoon, or by noon, let's just say. And you can bring all the luggage you want, and there's not a lot of restrictions because it's a boat. If we fly, it's much faster, and of course you're avoiding 2.5 hours on the water. So if anyone is worried about seasickness, then the plane makes a lot more sense. So I just wanted to give you an idea. The plane usually allows 35 pounds, but I always prepay 50 pounds for all my guests. So you would take the same luggage that you would have with you on the boat. So that's not on the plane. So that's not an issue. So once you arrive in San Cristobal, you will go to our newest hotel, the Indigo. This just opened. I just had clients there last week. It's spectacular. It's so fresh. And I say that because I get excited when a new hotel opens in the Galapagos, because they open so few and far in between, because it's such a restricted area. And to have ocean views, access to the water is really unique. And they have a pool. Again, very unique for the Galapagos. So very excited to find 5 oceanfront rooms here for your family. So that is where we're going to stay on San Cristobal. December 21st, we're going to have that private boat rented for you, and we're going to be able to do an excursion. We can go to Isla Lobos, which is a huge colony of the sea lions, and there's another sea cows or something, another huge animal that lives here. And then Kicker Rock is actually is this island, and this is a snorkeler's paradise. So we can also discuss what interests you most before we finalize the itinerary, but there's a lot to do. Kicker Rock, you would see one of the only predators, sharks, in the Galapagos. Otherwise, there are no predators. That's what makes Galapagos so special, because the animals are not afraid of you. The birds don't fly away. The sea lions and penguins don't run away from you because they are not scared. So it's a very, very unique experience. Here's a picture of a blue-footed booby for you. Again, lunches, when we're out on a boat, we serve them on board. When we are in the hotel, we'll either have dinner in the lodge if it's remote like Pikaia, or in town if it's Indigo. So we try to mix it up so you're not eating in the same place every day. And then December 22nd, we're going to go inland. So I like a combination of seeing inland of the island and then also the coastal, so you can have some water experience. This is exactly what you don't get on a cruise. If you're on a cruise, you're only experiencing coastal excursions. So that is the beauty of staying in a hotel, because not only will you be have the flexibility to have evenings out, go to restaurants, but also to see deeper in the islands. You might not go up to as many islands, but it doesn't matter because every site is so different. It definitely feels like a really full itinerary. So we will do some hiking and some inland excursions on San Cristobal. And there you will also see giant tortoises because they roam in these highlands as well. And this is all volcanic. And then December 22nd, oh, I'm sorry. I just noticed that I have a typo on the day, December 23rd. I will fix that right now. We will fly home. That will be your day 10. And we will fly you back to Quito and back home. So that's 10 days of travel. Now, if you think that you have some extra time, I would really consider adding the Mashpee Cloud Forest Lodge or an Amazon Jungle Lodge if you are interested in having some more wildlife. So I'm going to stop sharing right now. I will fix that typo. My apologies. And I'm going to send this to you. Hopefully this helps you kind of understand a little bit why I chose what I chose and how much flexibility there is to make any changes to the hotels, to the activities. If you want to spend more time snorkeling, just let me know, and tell me what you don't want to do. That will help me as well. So happy travels. I'm sending this off to you now.